Anybody here? Oh, crap. Well, alarms are going on. Does anybody know what's going on? Is this the forecast center? The alarms are going off. I think there's something flying at us. What? Get down right now! Everyone, and welcome to our latest Roland Heights forecast on our update. And in this forecast, we're going to discuss a major wildfire risk that's going on in the Pacific Northwest today, where we can easily see fires spark up, and they can be significant. They can spread easily, they can cause damage to forests, they can cause damage to towns, and possibly even trigger evacuations. We're also going to talk about the severe weather over the next few days, and potentially significant severe weather over the next few days, where we could see damaging winds, some large hail, and isolated tornadoes. And then we're also going to discuss tropical storm Genevieve and the heat that is going on in the United States. Disclaimer, I'm doing this intro in the main forecast. I said how I didn't mention heat in the intro, but that intro, there was a mistake I made, so I have to refilm this, so I'm just going to address that right here. So, we're also going to discuss anything about the Atlantic Ocean, which is quiet, so we're going to show you why that's quiet. And we're also going to talk about the heat wave in the Southwest. So without much more time on this intro, let's roll the forecast. Alright guys, and I'm going to start off like always with our significant severe weather today, which we actually do now got a slight risk extending all the way up into Ohio, up into Dayton, which could be suspicious because that's where a tornado risk is. And it's still 2% tornado threat, but it has stretched down to the south. Holy forces. Alright, and then there's a 15% wind risk for stretching from basically northeastern Alabama up into Dayton, Ohio, and then a general wind risk stretching from Indiana all the way down into Mississippi. And then we have our hail risk, which is a hail risk here in New Mexico. Let's go over our winds here. Yeah, there are ton of places under different risks of severe weather. We got 3 different risks here. Alright. But anyways, let's go to our day 2 outlook now, which is right now a marginal threat of severe weather. We were thinking that this would be more significant, but I guess not, because we don't have a tornado risk that exists tomorrow. Our damaging wind risk is just a 5%, plain old 5%, stretching from Cleveland down into Atlanta, Georgia, and just down into central Georgia. And hail risk that just is in North Dakota. And our day 3 outlook is again that shifting to the east, which I do think about that for Monday. We could actually see a relatively significant severe weather outbreak and possibly a small-scale tornado outbreak. I don't know about a tornado outbreak, but a few isolated to scattered tornadoes cannot be ruled out. But we're going to talk about this as it gets closer and we get more details about this event. And then let's go probabilistic here. And yeah, basically, I'm not seeing anything past day 3, so yeah, that's your risk of severe weather. Here's your fire risk over the next few days, and we now got our day 2 outlook for tomorrow, which is another concerning fire risk. But let's go over today. This is just north of where we've already seen fires. We got a 5%, an extreme fire risk up here in Washington, and now it's going down into Oregon too. It used to include Ritzville, Ellensburg, Ephrata, Davenport, but now it stretches down into Pasco, Walla Walla, Pendleton, Condon, Hempener. I definitely pronounced that wrong, but we also have a critical fire risk all across. This is just a major risk of fires, and it is a very significant wildfire risk. And if you live in these areas, I would recommend getting a plane ready just in case you need to evacuate. You'll also need to be extremely careful with any lighters or anything that could start a fire. Anything, literally anything. Because anything that starts a fire in these areas can easily be spread and go out of control. And I will not recommend camping in these areas because it's going to be windy and it is going to be dry. So those are the perfect conditions to get a fire started here. And then it's not too much. It's not much of a relief tomorrow either. Into Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, we have another critical fire risk, and I'm not even ruling out an extreme fire risk here either. Again, if you live in these areas, I would recommend having a plan just in case you need to evacuate. Great Falls, Helena, Billings, Idaho Falls, Jackson, near the Yellowstone National Park. You need to be ready for this critical fire risk. So, I mean, again, it is just a concerning day tomorrow. And then let's go over excessive rainfall now. Which for today is not too crazy, but we do got a pretty big slight risk of excessive rainfall here for Indiana, Ohio, into Illinois, southern Michigan, Kentucky, Tennessee, and all across the eastern central United States. And then there's another slight risk of excessive rainfall here in New Mexico. Tomorrow, we got another slight risk of excessive rainfall here for Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, and then down to the south, there's another one here in Florida. And then our day 3 right now is a slight risk here for the Northeast, which honestly, I wouldn't even rule out a moderate risk, but for now, it's a slight risk. We're going to see how that evolves. And then our day 4 and day 5 outlooks are just not concerning yet. We're going to pay attention to the first 3 days of this outlook from today to Monday. But we're going to continue to give you updates on our excessive rainfall risk. And I'm so sorry I didn't mention this on the intro, but let's go over our temperatures. And I'm just going to use GFS for this one. Alright, here's your temperatures in the United States over the next few days, which we do got several heat domes that are setting up when this loads here. Let's go over these temperatures, which right now here, it's the only really crazy temperatures for this heat dome is if you go far south enough. But this is going to shift into the north over the next few days and intensify, or isolated temperatures up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit cannot be ruled out. And guess what? It's in the same areas that were just impacted by a heat wave. And these temperatures are going to continue to shift north and likely intensify. And as you can see, this isn't going to be as crazy as our last heat wave, okay? But it is going to be a significant heat dome that sets up. And keep in mind, guys, these are apparent temperatures. Now let's go over this heat wave here in the southwest. And guys, I know you guys deal with heat a lot down here, but like this is a relatively significant heat wave that you need to be ready for. Where temperatures up to 115 degrees Fahrenheit cannot be ruled out. That'll continue over the next few days. In the far southwest. So, yeah, keep close tabs on that, and let's look at our actual temperatures to get a better idea about what our actual temperature is going to be like. So, if we could see how much of a heat wave these things are. Starting off with the Great Plains, honestly, not much different from the feel-like temperatures. There's a point in time here where it shows some pretty dang hot temperatures here. Well, let's just say Oklahoma and Kansas, Texas, they've been the epicenter so far for the past few days. of significant heat waves. The Great Plains has been the epicenter. Let's go to this heat dome right here. And yeah, as you can see, it's going to get pretty hot here in the southwest as well. Now, let's just go over our tropical storm here. Which, I mean, I don't know what to say about this other than there's not much to talk about here. I mean, this is more of a wind producer than a rain producer. Like, as you can see, almost no rain is falling with this. But I would still recommend, if you're going to go through this area, you might want to delay your plan just a little bit or make a different route, because you still don't want to drive through 50-mile-per-hour winds, you know. It's not as bad as Hurricane Genevieve was earlier at a Category 5. Genevieve, so, I mean, again, that's a... And then, so tomorrow, or no, let's go back to our models here. And this time, I'm going to look at the 300 millibar wind. And for a 300 millibar wind, it does show some tropical activity, including this big tropical storm right here. And does show that some kind of system would form that would actually likely go into California. But the thing is, we don't know if this is going to happen with how far out this is. But the GFS has been pretty correct with all these hurricanes that we've seen out here. I mean, it's El Nino out here, so we do have a lot to talk about out here. The Atlantic Ocean has just not heated up yet. I'm going to see if there's going to be anything that looks like it might be a tropical storm. I know the GFS at one point was showing something, it actually making landfall on Florida. And it doesn't really show much. This is just way too big to be anything tropical, so... But sometimes it's really hard to see tropical storms in the jet stream. Alright, let's just go over the jet stream here in the United States over the next few days. And actually, I'll tell you something that's going to be easier to see, but we're going to get to that in a moment. And as you can see, here, we're going to continue to see some severe weather here in the United States over the next few days. But I do think eventually that we're going to enter a more zonal pattern. We're going to slowly enter a zonal pattern here in August, which is what's going to limit this severe weather risk. And eventually a ridge is going to build up, which makes me think that we're going to see another significant heat wave, and try to guess it, the Great Plains. Let's go back to the Atlantic Ocean, and obviously, as I can see, this just doesn't look concerning. Now, this GFS model goes out, like, very far, so... I'm sorry, guys, this is kind of lagging. So, yeah, we're gonna see just how... But as you can see, it really doesn't look like anything tropical is gonna form anytime soon. But, yeah, that's basically the Atlantic Ocean right now. Alright, guys, and that'll be it for today's forecast. If you enjoyed today's forecast, share this to spread the word. You don't have to, but I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Hey, what are you...